For most of us, moving to another country, and especially a developing country, is a big deal that requires plenty of homework and planning. After all, there are so many things to consider in such a big move. Thankfully, many foreign guys are responsible and think through things carefully, do their research and set a good plan as well as a backup plan or two. But sadly, some foreign guys may meet a new Filipina that they have become infatuated with and quickly decide to go and be with her in the Philippines. And for many, unfortunately, this becomes a living nightmare. I've seen stories of foreign men chasing love in the Philippines who literally sell their possessions and get on a plane to the Philippines without any real thought on how they'll survive there. Where will they get their income, or is their pension from their country enough to live on and give them a decent lifestyle, or will they be living like many locals on or just above the poverty line? Sure, they may have somewhere to live in the province with the Filipina and her family most likely, in conditions many from Western countries wouldn't be able to tolerate for more than a few weeks. But what happens after a few weeks when he's had enough of living like that, or even worse? What if she then decides that she doesn't want to be with him anymore? Many of these sort of guys may be very disillusioned with their own country. Perhaps they're unhappy with the political climate, or perhaps they've been outcast by their own family or society for a variety of reasons. These guys see the Philippines and the Filipina as their ideal escape to start a brand new life in a new country. All they can see at this point is plenty of positives and no negatives. They miss out on seeing the very obvious differences around heat and humidity, the vast poverty, substandard living conditions, how many small things become far more difficult, and the list will go on and on. Now, after the man arrives in the Philippines, he may be all happy and the Filipina may be smiling, but the novelty and the reality of the situation will wear off rather quickly. And he'll soon realise that visiting a country like the Philippines for a few weeks vacation is far different to that of putting down roots and living in the country. He can't just spend all his money like a tourist, unless he's rich of course, as the money will dry up very quickly. Many foreign guys have a perception that our money will last forever in the Philippines, and it is true that we get great value for our money when we may go on vacation there, but when living there, things are far different. For some of these guys, they may not realise until it's too late and they have very little money left, and if the Filipina now decides you really aren't the man she thought you were and asks you to leave, then what do? And make no mistake, there are some of these very guys living on the streets of Manila and even go around begging for money because they've raced off to the Philippines without any sort of plan or backup plan. It's absolute craziness. They have no income stream coming in, and in some cases, not even a pension. And they certainly don't have any online or passive income to boost their savings, and no money to even get a flight back home. These are the sort of foreigners that Thailand have recently changed their laws around to ensure foreign guys there must pay several $1,000s a surety to the government so this very thing doesn't happen. And my suspicion is that very soon the Philippines may very well tighten up their laws around this sort of thing, as it really isn't a good look to have foreigners begging on their streets. They say love can be a very powerful emotion, and no doubt, in some cases, as pointed out here, love combined with a desperate attempt for a prospect of a new, exciting life causes the foreigner to lose all objectivity, reality, and common sense. Unfortunately, it's also very sad for some of these guys that some mental health issues could also be affecting their decision making. They may very well have had these issues in their own country before going to the Philippines, and now they can't access the medication needed to think clearly, or perhaps they had stopped medication before they had left, and that led to the poor decision of going to the Philippines with no firm plan or plans. But make no mistake, Being in a relationship with the right Filipina can be amazing and like nothing you may have experienced before. But everything must be done the right way, and especially when thinking about moving to the Philippines. Be aware, failure to plan thoughtfully will no doubt lead to being stuck in a nightmare situation. In my opinion, no one should ever move to the Philippines until they've lived there for at least a few months to get a feel if they may be able to handle the many differences full time. Then go back home, and if it's what you want, set out a very thoughtful and solid plan. If you have a girlfriend there, then I'm sure she won't mind waiting a bit longer to be with you, and if not, there are plenty there in the Philippines just waiting for a man like you. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and take care.